Last play here, Walker over his shoulder. Havili goes back to Humphreys. He'll take a one-point attempt from right in front. And he has kicked it. It wasn't how they drew it up at training under the tutelage of Wayne Bennett, but he'll be smiling. Jamie Humphreys, an impromptu snap is good.
That was the Turning Point, brought to you by Ashley and Martin Medical Hair Centres. Jamie Humphrey steps up and, like shilling peas, just pots it straight over the black dot to win the game for the Bunnies over the Dragons. Will he be the buy of the year, this kid, or what? He's had a great start.
Well, he's in front at the moment, him and Terrell May at the West Tigers. He was terrific. You know what he's earning? They tell me he's on $150,000.
Wow.
200 next year, 200,000.
That'll be upgraded very shortly.
Very, yeah, it should be. They should upgrade him now.
He's so calm and cool. In that moment, it was almost like he just ball landed in his hands. He thought, I'll have a pop here.
Well, that's what happened.
Yeah.
They didn't set up for it,
No.
but he hit it so sweetly. He hits the kick so sweetly. He's got such a big boot on
He's
him.
a big boy too, Brad. Like defensively, he's
got arms
a
like
big bloke in the line.
Knots and cotton.
The interesting thing too is keeping Lewis Dodd out, the 700k
Dodd
player.
did his calf, didn't he? I think
They say he played very well in New South Wales Cup though. So.
Okay. That's going to be. He's scored one and set up a couple, I think. So he'll be thereabouts. So it's going to be interesting to see how that does play out. Also, Jye Gray, he creates a headache for Bennett. Jye was outstanding again the first two games of the year. He was their biggest threat in the field, relentlessly on the weekend. So quick, especially with those tiring forwards in the middle of the ruck. What are they going to do when
He
Latrell
stays there.
He stays there.
If I was
That's
in the
your
selection,
opinion.
but yeah, I think he stays there. I think Latrell, with all the minor, muscle tears he has, you leave the Ferrari, you don't put a lot of kilometres on, and he can have an impact playing centres.
Well, Latrell's played centre for New South Wales. It's his
Australia,
position in Origin.
I think he's won a comp in the centres.
The hard thing there is you got Jack Whiten and Stretch, Campbell Graham on the other side. So the only option would be maybe to move
Jack
Campbell to the wing.
He's the best defensive centre in the game, though, Braith, just about. Campbell Graham.
And again on the weekend. I'm
was
not
so
saying
good on
I'd
the
move him.
weekend.
I'm not saying I would move him. I'm just saying if you were to do that, it does have a ripple effect.
I think it's a no-brainer. I think Latrell's your fullback. That's what you bought him for. He's on the big money to play fullback, and on his day, he's one of the best fullbacks in the comp. I think he'd be a great 14.
Yeah.
I think you play him off the bench as a 14 because I don't think you can move Jack Whiten or Campbell. I don't think you cannot move Campbell Graham. He's so good defensively out wide for them. Yeah. So I just don't think. I think Latrell, he is your fullback. I think that they can't win a. If they're going to win the comp...
So you were about to say it then?
Yeah, if they're going to win a comp, it's with Latrell at fullback.
You were saying they couldn't win with Jye at fullback.
Well, I thought about what I was going to say and I've retracted
I understand what you're saying.
But they cannot win a comp unless Latrell's at fullback and playing out of his skin.
Okay. Buzz, what do you think?
Oh, look, I'm either... Wayne thinks Latrell's the fullback.
Yep.
Latrell will play fullback.
Yeah.
I've no doubt, but I understand what you're saying, that you've got to take some
Well, he
mileage
and
out
Tommy, they just don't, they're two Ferraris, you don't need them putting extra kilometres on the clock, and they get so many minor injuries with
But there is a problem,
tears.
like Whiten and Stretch are just
Well,
such
just throw Whiten in that lock. He's a big body, he's aggressive, he can play that role like an Isaiah Yo role. Throw him out there.
I think it's a great problem to have because I don't think anyone would have had Southman in the first two games of the year, given that Murray and Latrell were out.
They were allegedly decimated.
Exactly. And Jye...
And look, now we can't find position for Latrell.
Can you imagine bringing Jye Gray into the game after 20, 30
he'd be
minutes?
very good. He'd be
He'd
very
outstanding.
good. He would be. Now, what's the latest with Brandon Smith? Is Brandon going to the Bunnies? Is it happening this year? Where are we at?
He'll sign the next 48 hours, I believe, for about $600k a year. Now, the Roosters, he won't be back till round 15 with that ACL recovery. Because it's so late in the season, the Roosters would be more than happy to do an immediate transfer. But they don't get on with South. And for them to get together and work out what fair compensation is either way, will be a difficult negotiation. The Roosters, he's on $900,000 this year at Bondi Junction.
How many games do you think he'd play for the Roosters?
Probably the last 10.
Throw him straight back in.
Yeah, close enough.
Yeah.
The Roosters will chip in some money, Buzz, won't they? But they just won't.
Yeah.
chip in a heap because it's got to be in. It's got to work in their favour. They've got to come out of this with some more money to spend in their salary cap, so they can't afford to chip in too much. But they'll put some money in to make it happen.
Braith, last week,
I think he's played his last game for the Roosters. Brandon.
As I wrote, the Roosters had a concreter and a bookie clerk on the field, so they didn't want Brandon's money to put those guys on better deals and reward those young kids who brought down 4-time premiers Penrith so well.
You wrote the Roosters might not be too happy with the way that Brandon's talking up the Bunnies.
Well, can you imagine? You know, we all know Nick and how that hatred that stems between the Roosters and Rabbitohs, and I can't imagine anyone of the Roosters would have been happy with, you know, Brandon publicly flirting with Wayne Bennett and the Rabbitohs and talking up how much he loved the club and wanted to play there. But I mean, we know Brandon. He's a cracking bloke, and sometimes he just talks. He doesn't really. I'm not sure he thinks. Right?
He's got his own
He just
podcast
talks.
too, right?
He does, yeah. So, I can't imagine the Roosters were happy with it. But Brandon's been on the outer at the Roosters for a long time now. It's not a recent thing.
All right, look, Brandon didn't turn up to their season launch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brandon didn't turn up to their Hall of Fame dinner that I went to in town last year. I just don't think he's part of that culture.